Get ready for some massive updates because we are kicking things off with the latest on mortgage markets. We are diving deep into the current ARM mortgage rates report for May 18, 2026. We're breaking down exactly how adjustable rate mortgages can be a smart play for home buyers, looking at the specific scenarios where an ARM beats a fixed rate loan, and we'll show you the sample rates from top lenders based on the latest data available as of May 15. Find out if you should be looking at a 7/6 ARM or another structure to secure your next home. Federal Trade Commission. We examine whether ARM sought to illegally monopolize parts of the semiconductor market by refusing to provide crucial central processing unit design licenses or by degrading their quality. And we look at the massive implications for companies like Qualcomm and Apple. And finally, we are stepping up the scrutiny on ARM Holdings' practices globally. We are tracking the broader global watchdogs, including the U.S. Federal Trade Commission and South Korea's antitrust regulator, as they probe ARM's licensing of its semiconductor technology. We'll detail the ongoing dispute with Qualcomm and the rising stakes as ARM pursues its new artificial intelligence chip, AGI CPU. Don't miss these critical developments. Stay tuned right here for the full breakdown. Mortgage market analysis indicates that while fixed-rate mortgages remain the dominant choice for home buyers, adjustable-rate mortgages, or ARMs, present a viable strategy for specific financial situations. Experts suggest ARMs can be advantageous for investors looking to rent out or flip properties, or for individuals planning to relocate within a few years, allowing them to exit the loan before the introductory fixed period concludes. Data from recent reports, such as the May 18, 2026 ARM rates report from Fortune, provides insight into current market conditions. Channel YouTube reviewed the latest available data as of May 15, presenting sample rates from various institutions based on hypothetical borrower profiles. It is crucial to note that these sample rates are estimates, and actual rates offered may vary based on an applicant's specific credit profile and location. An ARM structure is defined by an initial fixed-rate period followed by adjustment periods where the interest rate can fluctuate. A common structure is the 7/6 ARM, which features a fixed rate for 7 years, with subsequent adjustments occurring every 6 months. In contrast, fixed-rate loans offer stability, as the interest rate remains unchanged for the entire life of the loan, a factor that explains the preference of 92% of mortgaged households for fixed products. However, ARMs cater to a smaller segment, approximately 8% of mortgage holders, who seek the flexibility they offer. These loans are particularly useful for homebuyers saving for a down payment, as they typically begin with a low, fixed interest rate. Following the fixed period, the adjustment phase begins, where rates are tied to various economic factors. Common ARM lengths include the 5/1, where a 5-year fixed period is followed by annual adjustments over a 30-year term, and the 10/6 structure, featuring a 10-year fixed period and semi-annual adjustments over a 20-year term. Other variations like 3/1, 7/1, and 10/1 ARMs also exist. Despite the potential benefits, the decision to use an ARM is not always permanent. Homeowners may eventually find that a fixed-rate mortgage is more suitable for long-term residency plans. Furthermore, refinancing from an ARM to a fixed-rate loan is a common practice. This process involves applying with multiple lenders, securing the best rates, completing the necessary documentation, and paying off the existing ARM to secure a stable, fixed-rate product. Ultimately, while ARMs present distinct advantages, understanding their mechanics and the associated risks is essential for borrowers to make informed financial decisions. Noi Dung Kai Tait. In a harrowing incident in the Okavango Delta, Botswana, Belgian diver Alain Brandelier was attacked by a crocodile that destroyed his only functional arm. The event, which occurred on September 6, 2012, was a life-altering trauma. The water turned suddenly cloudy, and the crocodile wrapped around him, biting his right arm. A companion managed to keep him alive for a crucial minute, with Brandelier later stating, /, if he had let go for a second, I was dead. /N following the attack, Brandelier faced a devastating decision when doctors recommended amputation of the limb. Despite the immense physical and emotional toll, and concerns about becoming a burden to his family, he chose to undergo the surgery. His recovery was arduous, involving multiple surgeries, complications, and infections. /N 6 months after the attack, Brandelier began a profound journey of rehabilitation. Starting with basic movements and physiotherapy, he transformed his recovery into a process of reclaiming his relationship with his body. His ambition grew, moving from rehabilitating his arm to challenging himself physically. He set ambitious goals, attempting to swim the English Channel and later the Strait of Gibraltar, ultimately completing the latter in 2015, and swimming between Corsica and Sardinia in 2023. Parallel to his physical recovery, Brandelier's experiences in the water exposed him to a growing environmental crisis. As he traveled through remote areas, he witnessed alarming levels of plastic pollution accumulating on beaches and contaminating marine life, shaking his perception of pristine environments. And this realization spurred Brandelier to take action. Inspired by his son's introduction to the ocean cleanup, he launched the Running for the Ocean initiative. This effort seeks to intercept plastic before it reaches the ocean, starting with fundraising swims, such as a 23-kilometer journey between Spanish islands in 2025, which raised significant funds for plastic interception. He also established a 20-kilometer race in Brussels aimed at inspiring participation and creating a replicable model for global action. N today, more than a decade after the attack, the memory of the trauma remains, but Brandelier has fundamentally changed his relationship with his body and pain. He no longer views the physical difference as an enemy, but as an integrated part of his life. He describes his journey not as a simple comeback, but as a series of transformations that have shaped a new identity. Brandelier is now driven by the desire to show others, particularly children born with physical differences, that passion and perseverance can lead to achieving the unthinkable. His current existence in the water is characterized by a conscious, measured movement, a conviction that a life marked by adversity can still push for something larger than itself. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission has launched an antitrust investigation into Arm Holdings plc, the British chip designer, examining whether the company engaged in illegal monopolization within the semiconductor market. According to reports from Bloomberg on May 16, the FTC is scrutinizing whether Arm unlawfully restricted access to Central Processing Unit, or CPU, design licenses, or engaged in quality degradation. The agency had previously notified Arm of the probe and ordered the preservation of relevant documents earlier this year. Arm, whose largest shareholder is Japan's SoftBank Group Corp., has been involved in licensing chip blueprints and instruction set architecture, critical components relied upon by major manufacturers like Qualcomm Inc. and Apple Inc. However, Arm has recently diversified its strategy by launching its proprietary artificial intelligence chip, the AGI CPU. Entering the direct sales market with projections of generating $15 billion in annual revenue within 5 years. Industry observers suggest this move is more than mere diversification. They interpret it as a strategic effort to gain vertical control over the broader CPU supply chain amid surging spending by big tech on AI infrastructure. Qualcomm has voiced concerns, arguing that ARM's actions could restrict access to its essential technology. This dynamic reflects a broader industry struggle for leadership in next-generation computing resources, spanning from personal computers to AI infrastructure, particularly as demand for smartphone chips moderates. This FTC probe follows escalating scrutiny from global regulators. Qualcomm had previously filed a complaint with the European Commission in 2024, alleging that ARM limited access to licenses and withheld core technology. Furthermore, South Korea's Fair Trade Commission conducted an on-site inspection of ARM's Seoul office in November last year following Qualcomm's complaint. In response to the investigation, ARM declined to comment, characterizing Qualcomm's allegations of anti-competitive conduct as nothing more than a desperate and self-serving attempt to gain leverage in a commercial dispute. Meanwhile, ARM shares have seen a significant surge, rising 82.3% this year, significantly outpacing the 63% gain recorded by the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index. Washington, ARM Holdings is under intense antitrust scrutiny from the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, focusing on its licensing of semiconductor technology. Bloomberg News reported that the investigation centers on whether ARM is attempting to illegally monopolize segments of the semiconductor market. The FTC is specifically assessing whether the company might reject or downgrade licensing agreements for its chip blueprints used in designing central processing units. The regulator had notified ARM of the investigation earlier this year and has requested the company to preserve relevant documents. ARM declined to comment on the inquiry, and the FTC has not yet issued a response to requests for comment. This regulatory pressure comes amid ongoing commercial tensions, notably a dispute between ARM and Qualcomm concerning a contract following ARM's acquisition of the chip startup Nuvia. ARM strongly refuted allegations from Qualcomm, stating that the claims of anti-competitive conduct were a desperate and underhanded attempt to obtain leverage in the commercial dispute. Qualcomm also did not immediately respond to requests for comment. ARM's financial structure is heavily reliant on licensing its technology to major players like NVIDIA and Apple, supplemented by royalty payments for design usage. Global scrutiny of ARM's practices is not limited to the United States. South Korea's antitrust regulator also launched an investigation into ARM's Seoul offices in November, stemming from a complaint reportedly made by Qualcomm, although Reuters noted it could not independently verify that claim.